Oh my goodness. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. I'm just going to adjust myself in my little chair here. So, good morning. Good morning. Here we are. We're well into March now. We are only, today's the 11th, so 1, 2, 3, 4. We're only 4 days from the Ides of March, which is when Julius Caesar should have stayed home. He should have called in sick. He should have taken a day. And I think part of that is what we sort of want to talk about today is the difference between conscious choice and kind of not, and what the values are of those. So before I begin, I just want to welcome everybody from your day. Thank you for taking the time. And for the new people joining, because we're getting a lot of people on LinkedIn jumping on, which is very exciting. Kind of hadn't expected it, but that's okay too. So we are now, through the magic of something called Restream, we are now seen on, of course, Facebook, and we are seen on YouTube, and we are seen on Twitch, and we are seen on LinkedIn. It's what you might call diversificating our portfolio. Diversificating? Diversifying, right? Okay, so for those of you just new, my name is Abby Haggard. Once upon a time, somebody said, "You want to be on TV?" And I said, "Yes, desperately," because I was on TV and we got canceled. And now I'd like to pay the rent. And this friend of mine, Carol Hayes, said, "Well, you know what? There's a show, and I think you'd be amazing." And she failed to tell me right away that it involved children. But by that time, I was in over my head. And so I played a mom. And that's Mom over there in the corner. That's the remnants, the ghost of Valerie Prevert from You Can't Do It on Television. And at the same time, Ottawa was a very busy hub of creativity back in the 1980s. And we produced the Care Bears, and we produced Teddy Ruxpin, and we produced For Better For Worse, and the Raccoons, and a ton of stuff for Marvel, and just a whole bunch of amazing projects that came up to us when economies shift, and all of a sudden Ottawa looked like the place to be, and we were. So what have you been doing since then, said somebody on the weekend. And I said, I have been writing a ton of books for other people, ghosting, helping people rewrite what they thought they wanted to be known as, which is kind of a brand story. And I just have don't you hate it when a hair just kind of, a brand story, which is, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is what it accomplishes. This is what it changes. This is why you care. That's a brand statement. And a lot of people don't realize the power of doing something like that until all of a sudden they say, "Oh my God, this changes so much." Yeah. And then I started writing a few books for me, which were a whole lot of fun. They're novels and they're funny, and a couple of kids' books, and so busy. But in the time of all of that, I had this idea in the back of my mind. And I've taken uncharacteristically, because I'm impulsive and I'm impatient. I took a long time to make this kind of come into focus because I want it to work. Well, good morning, Chris. Good morning. Um, and and so this project I'm working on is designed to give you back all of the natural, spontaneous excitement and enthusiasm and natural effortlessness that you have before somebody kind of undermines your confidence, somebody or something. When we're just spontaneously doing something and we love it and we have a momentum, we don't really spend any time wondering if we're any good at it because we're too busy doing it. However, when somebody, goes out of their way, they see you coming by on your bicycle and they pick up a stick and they shove it in the spokes and you stop and fall down, you suddenly start second guessing yourself. You start wondering if that was a fluke. And for a lot of people, if we're tired, if we're distracted, if we feel alone or confused, that second guessing is enough to just kind of ruin it, to destroy the joy. And so my project is to revive the joy, is to, and it's not a kumbaya thing, and I'm not giving out cheerleader pom-poms and stuff. This is real strategy, and these are real tactics and techniques that we naturally evolve. And because we just naturally evolve them, we don't realize we have them. So how would I know something like this? Military kid, moved every, it felt like 15 minutes, which meant that I had to go get those skills over and over and over again. So often that I got good at doing that, at going and getting them, at looking at the situation and saying, we're going to need one of those. It's like the caddy deciding which size weapon you're going to need to bash that little ball into smithereens. And so I realized that not everybody has that. And I realized it during COVID because I couldn't understand why people weren't getting back up, dusting themselves off, and figuring out a better way to come in. And I realized they didn't know they could. They didn't know they had the ability. And by the way, they were exhausted and confused and frustrated. And everything was too much of a muchness. So they didn't. And they didn't for years and years and years. And all of a sudden, it's 3 years. And they've forgotten how to do the stuff that they did that wasn't even difficult. They've forgotten how to get excited about going out and having a glass of something or a bite of something with somebody, or just sitting outside, or going shopping, going strolling. They were exhausted and they'd forgotten how. So my project is the reset. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. And I'm not singing. I promise I'm not singing. And to give us a sense of fun in the relearning. So I bring foolishness and silliness with a side order of watch this. And it gives people a bit of a distraction to laugh, to giggle at the nonsense, and then think that maybe it's not all entirely nonsense. And then lean in and say, I'm sorry, say that again. And now they're in the boat. Now they're in my Viking boat with me, Viking ancestry. Now they're in the boat with me. Now we can make things happen. So that's been the project. And it is just coming onto the horizon. We are just seeing it's coming into focus. Very exciting. That's why these videos are to give you teasers. Every one of the themes is one of the points, one of the items that are cool to realize, to recognize, to say, I remember that. I used to do that. Huh, I wonder why I stopped. Also, to remind people who haven't seen me in a while that I'm alive and well. Good morning, Freddie. Nice to see you. All right. So that's the backstory. This is who I am. This is my cup of morning. Ta-da. And now we begin. So I found this crazy picture this morning that I put up for those of you who are, where would you be seeing it? Oh, I think it's only visible on Facebook. It's a picture of the most extraordinarily unfortunate looking outfit that it's so complicated to get into from the looks of it that it wasn't random chance. However, those of you who can't see it, if you go and look at it, I think what she's carrying might be random chance. Not sure. So my conversation today and the theme today for video number 339 is this. Do you choose your chainsaws? The ones that you pick up while they're flaming and juggle madly? Or are you winging it? Are you deliberately choosing, excuse me, are you deliberately choosing the weapon of choice, the topic of choice? Sorry, there's something in my throat. The concept of choice. Is it purposeful? Is it deliberate? Can you see there's a cause and effect relationship to it? Or was it just the closest thing to you lying on the floor? And I have seen people walking around looking like either and both. Quick sidebar story. My girlfriend and I, Joan, were sitting somewhere on an outdoor patio many, many years ago. And an individual walked by wearing the most remarkably unfortunate combination of things I had ever seen. And it had rendered me speechless. Feature that. I'm staring at this person walking by. And my friend Joan, in a casual, offhand way, said, "Imagine the outfit she discarded in favor of that." And I spat most of what I was drinking across the table. I was, while she was thinking that, I had been thinking we could get a collection together and buy them a mirror. equally uncharitable. So the the conversation today goes like this. Do you choose it? Do you choose the weapon? Or are you so up to your neck in it, or so unfocused, either way, that you just randomly pick up the thing closest to you? Oh, it's an egg beater. Well, they love it in New York. What do you decide? In other words, are we talking purpose and focus? Or are we just saying, I don't know, let's see what happens? And the reason I want to talk about this is because a lot of the time, it would appear that people are going with the second choice. I don't know, let's just see what happens. And the reason I say that is because they don't seem to have any investment in the outcome. If they have to make a choice, they metaphorically close their eyes and mark an X somewhere in the box. And they don't think about the cause and effect. They don't think about the Department of Unintended Outcomes. Hey, what if we had 50 cats? Okay, do you have air freshener? Why? Just asking. Are you going to keep the cats inside? Why? Just asking. Do you have a good air filter? Why? Just asking. That's the conversation about random, cool, spontaneous, and Department of Unintended Outcomes. Because do you have air freshener? Do you have an air filter? Are you allergic to anything? These are the unintended outcomes if in fact you decided to get 50 cats. People make a lot of those decisions these days because somebody is insisting that they make a decision and they don't want to. They want the decision to make itself. They want the decision to spontaneously combust in front of them. And that's not how it works, because if you're the one who brings it and it doesn't work because the public who weren't at the rehearsal making the decision randomly, if and when they are unhappy with their outcome, they blame you. Why? Because you brought it. That you said, okay, talk amongst yourselves is irrelevant. You brought it. You own it. If they're not happy because the rules weren't there, it all comes back to you. So if you can't decide what to wear to work on your first day, I don't advise a beanie with a propeller unless you work at the circus. If you decide you're going to work in a bank, You want to look like somebody who can be trusted with money. There has to be a clear and purposeful approach. Why? Because the minute you make a decision that affects other people now have a vested interest in what you're doing and how you're doing it. And why? Because we're all together. We're all together in this. Now, I had a conversation yesterday, lengthy, with a very dear friend of mine. And it was the same conversation I have with every author I take on in my boutique publishing service. And the author's question is this: well, why can't I just let people decide for themselves? You can, except that it's not their book. It's your book. And you have to say what kind of book it is. Can't they decide for themselves? Sure. But that's unhelpful if they're in a hurry and they run into a store that is full of books and they say, where do you keep the mystery books? And they say, mystery is over there in aisle 6. And you don't want your book defined clearly. And therefore, where do they put it? How does anybody find your book? How does anybody find the story that you're trying to tell if you will not put a clear and concrete definition of it? They can't, because they don't know you. They don't know your book. They aren't coming for the 4th in your series, and you already have a reputation. They need to know what they're buying. I'm looking for a chainsaw. I'm looking for a gardening whipper foo-foo thing. Okay, that's in gardening. That won't be in mystery. Although me trying to figure out how to put it together was in the mystery aisle, I'll tell you. So when we decide we want to do something, the question is, do you choose the chainsaw? Do you select the chainsaw? Do you limit your options? Yes, you limit your options. Can you have the whimsy bucket by your side? Absolutely, you can have a whimsy bucket. In fact, I highly recommend a whimsy bucket. But I'm going to tell you today why it is important to be very clear at the beginning. Very clear at the beginning, and then we can add, and then we can change, and then we can shift, and then we can dance, darlings. And it goes like this. The definition of success, not what is the definition of the word, but the definition, the process that equates to success is this: repeated steps, repeatable steps taken over time. So, concept that is repeatable, that is duplicatable, that is repeatedly brought over time. A random fluke is not a guarantee of success. A random fluke is a magic moment of the coming together of stuff, but you can't predict it and you can't repeat it reliably. You can't count on it. One of the joys of a performance concept called improvisation, shortened for improv, is the magic of it, the wonder of it. There's a certain amount of adrenaline rush because you don't know what's going to happen. It's really cool, except that you don't know what's going to happen for the audience that paid to come in. So if you say it's a full improv show, then people are investing their time and their ticket money to see what happens when everybody just picks up stuff and flings it at a wall. And then we all watch to see what sticks and what drops. It's like a horse race. It's like the lottery. You can't predict anything. You can't guarantee anything. And the reason that is so risky is that it takes a great deal of time and care and concentration to get people to come and see you twice. It takes a great deal of work and effort to inspire them to come and see you again. I have been doing, this is my 339th video, and I set two things in motion at the beginning, and I said it was going to have to take something pretty calamitous for me to fail at these two things. One is I would do 2 a week, one on Thursday morning, one on Tuesday morning. The time would be 10 o'clock Eastern time, Abbey time, New York City time. And I would come to you for somewhere under an hour, and I would speak on a topic that floods into, that channels into my project, and also reminds everybody of how they used to feel and what they used to see and think when they watched me on television or when they heard me as a cartoon voice. Those two decisions, the days of the week and the time. And as far as I was concerned, I made that promise to me first, and I made it to you second. And if I make the promise to me, you can bet your bottom dollar that I'm going to keep it. Why? Because I'm the one who's always with me. I'm the one who picks me up when I fall down. If I can't give my word to me, I might as well stay under the bed. So I made that promise to me, and then I dedicated that promise to you. There have been a couple of times there, when the power's out, I'm still here, but we got no signal. And then there was a very challenging health scare that I had to help someone navigate. And there were times when I had to actually schedule the recording early and then broadcast it at the time. So you couldn't talk to me live. And aside from those glitches, I made that commitment so that you, in everything going on around you, knew that you could come and find me. You could say, I'll be right with you. I'm just going to check in on what Abby's talking about today. And then that becomes a conversation. You say, oh, it was really fun today. I'm going to catch the rest of it later. I just wanted to get her first bit. Sometimes the first bit is what I really wanted. It's like that sip of coffee. And I love it when people tell me that. So the conversation today is about success. And the ingredients for success are repeatable actions taken over time. I guarantee you that if you eat 10 Twinkies every day for a year, you will gain weight, have health issues, your clothes won't fit, and you'll have cavities. I can guarantee you. If you regularly lie to people, I can guarantee you that you will hurt people and they will no longer trust you. I can guarantee you that if you get up every day and you do your little workout, doesn't have to be big, just be stretching, perfect. If you make your bed, it's a great commencement speech by a rear admiral who said, make a commitment to yourself. The most important commitment you can make every day is when you get up, make your bed. And they all laughed. This is a military academy. And this rear admiral said, if I can't count on you to make your bed, how can I count on you to show up when lives are at stake? Oh, good point. Good point. So the discipline involved in saying, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is why it matters, this is who it serves, this is what's in it for you. What you are saying to people is, this is what I bring to you. And the reason people are grateful is because the world is a complicated place. And we take on things that are bigger than we thought. And we find ourselves trying to bite off more than we can chew. Good morning, Charles. Certainly, taking care of cat. Got some good news. I'm up for a promotion. Yay, Charles! Oh my gosh, how exciting! How exciting. Remember when you got the job and you were going home after the visit up here to start the job? My gosh, that's quick. Congratulations. Another talk that, whilst to many is right to me, Chris. The secrets to my success. Yes, Freddie. Yes. The secrets to success are repeated, repeatable actions taken over time. Even when you watch these stand-up comics who like to riff, bounce ideas and conversations with the people in the audience who are just talking, they have a formula. You can get caught up in the interplay and not realize that there's a formula, but they have a formula. They have a way of engaging. They have a way of controlling the outlines of the little box that the conversation they're having is in. The audience is not in charge, even though the audience is contributing content. The performer is in charge. And you can realize that as soon as you see that if you watch a clip and then you watch another clip and then you watch another clip with different people, you see the way they approach stuff. You see that there's a pattern. That is the repeatable, repeated series of actions that they have perfected over time that allows them to control without it appearing to be controlling. Because improvisation is the whimsy bucket. The whimsy bucket, I've never really talked about the whimsy bucket before. But today seemed like a good day given all the whimsical things that seem to be going on in the world. The whimsy bucket is the place where you put things that are random and fun, and you give yourself permission to pick one. So you can always be known as the person who this, the person who that. But then you can add an element, add a surprise note. And what that does for people is they can feel confident and secure that they can recognize you and what you do by your distinctive style, by your distinctive presence, by your distinctive mood and attitude, by the topics that you cover, by the things that you care about. And then they can get excited to see what it is you're going to pull out of the whimsy bucket. What's she going to do this time? What's that going to be? And we do that because the most powerful asset we have, and I'm very serious about this. It's going to sound like it's not serious, but it's very serious. The most powerful asset we have all the time in all things is the natural rhythm and flow and intuition of our inner child. Our inner child who sees the world through a completely different filter. The inner child who has not been told that we have to face the front and walk in straight lines. The inner child who will say, "Are you sure you should be eating that?" The inner child who says, "Are you listening to you?" The inner child who says, "That was my idea." The inner child who says, "So." We need to listen to the inner child. The inner child is not merely keeping us young and keeping us vibrant. They're keeping us alive in the way it takes to not merely survive, but thrive. And that conversation is just between us and our inner child. I have these conversations with Carol Hay every so often. I will open my mouth and something will come out of it, and I did not see it coming. And sometimes it's really, what? And other times it's pretty funny. And when it's, in both cases, I, at the same time as Carol or whomever, I say, because I didn't know I was going to do it. And I always attribute it. I always say, people say, how do you come up with stuff like that? I don't. There's a guy in the back who just hands and says, say this. And I do. And so I hear it the same time you do. And I think, or I don't know it's coming. That's my inner child. And we all have an inner child. Sometimes my inner child is right on, and sometimes my inner child has handed the reins over to some random fool friend passing by who's not that quick. I will open my mouth and I'll go. So what I'm talking about today, and the picture that I posted, if you go to my Facebook page, it's also in the Unforgettables group. The picture, you'll understand what I'm saying. Did you choose that? Did you choose that? My point is this: the world around us is busy. We are busy. We got stuff going on. We very much want to be part of something that makes us feel proud, that makes us feel safe, that makes us feel valued, that gives us purpose. We very much want to have that. We very much want our ideas and our decisions and our opinions to make a difference, because it's part of the tribal brain. Going way back, we want the tribe to need us, want us, love us, admire us, respect us, cherish us. Because if the tribe didn't, they would kick us out of the cave where the saber-toothed whatnots are, and it might be lunchtime. So this desire to belong is essential on so many levels, not the least of which is primitive survival, right? Good morning, Daniel. And what we must honor in order to contribute to the tribe, as opposed to expect the tribe to do the lifting for us, is we must bring value that is immediately usable, that is immediately accessible, that doesn't come with instructions in 7 different languages, none of which is ours. We need to provide tangible, workable contributions. I'm not saying we have to already be good at it out of the box. I'm saying we have to respect the fact that everybody is tap dancing as fast as they can. Everybody. And if we wish to join, we can do one of 2 things. We can join reluctantly and get up to speed. And everybody recognizes that. Everybody realizes somebody wants to come in, and we open up our ranks and we bring them in. It's happened every 15 minutes of my life. I'm the new kid in town. I'm allowed to make mistakes because this is the first time I heard the music. But if the dance is already underway, and if people are already scrambling because the music's going a little faster than they expected, the very least we must do in order to contribute to the tribe, if we wish to contribute to the tribe, is value. If we don't contribute value, what we are contributing is liability. We are slowing people down. If people are in a hurry, and I'm not talking panicked and running for our lives, but places to go, people to see. By the way, the light's turning green. We need to bring respect to the tribe. We need to say, is there room? May I join you? How is it done here? What is it What is it that I'm to do? Are there instructions? I'll stay at, I'd like to get in step with you. That is how we bring value. When we bring value, the tribe values us. And that's the equation. When we bring value, the tribe values us. It is not. The tribe is really hoping we come because the tribe is already the tribe. The tribe says, value add would be this. Here we come. Hi, I'm the value add. Good, come in, sit down. Can I offer you a beverage? Tribe says, value added would be a new later folder. I've used up mine. If you come in and say, hi, I have a pile of paper. I have a pile of paper. I found it in a box. Tribe says, yeah, we need later folders. Well, we could probably, what we could do? We could all sit down and we could fold the paper and make later folders. Tribe says, yeah, what we need are later folders. We need later folders. Oh, well, but I have all this paper. Good for you. When you've turned them into later folders, come again. Or go see the guy who sells us later folders. Sell him the paper. What we need are later folders. In order to be part of a tribe, we have to understand the rules of the tribe. In order to join the tribe, we have to understand why the tribe has rules. In order to change the rules, the decision makers in the tribe owe it to the members of the tribe to explain why the rules are changing. Why? Because a tribe is a many-legged creature with many minds and many hands and many purposes and passions. What we are trying to do in these complicated times, and by the way, it got complicated roughly 5 seconds after we navigated out of the ooze, discovered that we had legs, fell over realizing we hadn't discovered how to use them. It got complicated then. It's no more or less complicated now. We belong to many tribes. That's our doing, because each tribe has different rules. What we need to focus on for our benefit and for the tribal benefit, for the close, intermediate, and long-term benefit, is not only what's in it for us, but what's in it for them. And not just universally what's in it for us and what's in it for them, but what's in it for us and what's in it for them today. So when I speak to people and I say, this is how it works, and I had this wonderful conversation, this is how it works. I don't want to do it that way. Okay, don't do it that way, but this is how it works. Well, but I have my own idea. Okay, everybody has their own idea. This is how it works. So go ahead and do that. And when you want it to work, this is how it works. Are you sure? Yes. How are you so sure? Because I've spent a long time learning the hard way, trying to do it my way, discovering that's not how it works. Oh, when I was typing the title today, and then I was describing the title for the video today, and I said, I'm just a stream of consciousness, do you choose your chainsaws? Or are you winging it, right? And then I found myself saying, well, isn't winging it a choice? And I thought, oh, shut up, inner child. Yes, it's a choice. It's a different conversation. I thought, oh yeah, good point. So I wrote that down, because there will always be that kid in the class who says, excuse me, miss, but isn't it? Yeah, yes. And that's for tomorrow, not today. So the conversation today, that the focus is on today, and I'll tell you why in a second. The focus today is this. We have to understand, for our safety and our peace of mind and our happy outcomes, how the thing works. We buy the thing, we take it home, we open the box, it's in pieces, and there are instructions. We can ignore the instructions. We can try to put it together our way, and we might succeed, and it might even be better and different. Or after a great deal of struggling and using many words that begin and end with the same consonant, we can put those pieces back in the box, take them to the store and say, and have them do it for us for a fee. I have opted for that after trying the first. A thing goes together in a particular way, and the person who thought of it is the one who said to themselves, and then when I do this, it does that. They invented it. Can it be done a different way? Yes, indeed. That then becomes a different way of using it. That becomes a different product, service, process, procedure. If we want to do it that way, there's a way it's done. If we wing it, here's the problem, the issue, the complication. We can't do it again. We can't duplicate it. We can't guarantee the same outcome if we're winging it, if we're not writing our steps down. I used to teach improv to very talented. You see that look? That kind of talented people. And one of them, remarkably in that category, did something so unexpected that it left everybody completely open-mouthed and laughing, falling all over themselves, which was the purpose intended. So remarkably unexpected. After I had stopped laughing that hard, I said, okay, do it again. And he said, well, I can't do it again. And I said, sure you can, do it again. And he said, what are you talking about? I can't do it again. It was improv, Abby. It was spontaneous. And I said, here's the thing. You know what they've proven? They've proven that if you put an animal, say, I don't know, a chimpanzee, you put that animal in a room with a typewriter and a pile of paper long enough, that animal can write something. You know what's really tough? Getting it to write the sequel. Do it again. He said, I can't. And I said, I could do it again. And I was standing beside you. Why can't you do it again? And he said, I wasn't paying attention. I was just going with the flow. I didn't record it. I was in the moment. And I said, okay, all right. This is an important lesson that we can teach you, because you can be in the moment. You can accept that some things just happen magically because there are forces at work, and the divine timing, the universal timing is pretty spectacular. But you can know where you were, and you can wander around and find that momentum again. You can find the familiarity of that again. And if you have somebody watching you closely, they can say, and then you did this. And that's called rehearsal. That's called polish. That's called perfect. And he said, but it takes away the spontaneity. And I said, no, it doesn't. Not remotely. The spontaneity is the frisson, is the magic of you doing it and something, someone, some people reacting. That's the spontaneity. It's combustion. This plus this, foof. That's the spontaneity. You have to reliably bring the repeatable thing to guarantee potential. Reliably bring the repeatable thing. Reliably bring the repeatable thing to guarantee potential. And then you practice and you practice. There's a famous saying. There was a chap in Hollywood in the very early days who was famous for saying crazy things. It's attributed, I think, to Samuel Goldwyn. I think, and I don't know if it was actually he who said it. And he said, the person said, we're going to rehearse this thing until it's spontaneous. And what he meant was apparently effortless, apparently flawless, apparently fluid. And the visual example I'm going to give you is this. When I was in elementary school, they had gym class, which, much like singing class, was a place I should not ever have been allowed to go. And I was away for a few weeks. We were on vacation. I came back, and they had all learned how to climb onto and climb off without hurting themselves the uneven parallel bars. And I looked at those things and I said, that's not going to be. I don't see a fit there. My little heart didn't sing saying, oh, okay. My little heart said, gosh, look at the time. And I watched a kid run at it, leap on it, fling themselves around and around and around, and then miss a moment, miss a grab, and land firmly on the floor like a starfish on a beach. And the teacher turned to me and said, you're next. And I said, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that because I am going to do that. And I don't want to do that. That looked painful. And she said, if you keep doing it, you can look like all those Olympic athletes. It will look flawless, but you have to do the work. You have to put in the work. You have to practice. And I said, I don't want to look like an Olympic athlete. I grasp the concept. I grasp the if then. Got it. Not that. Don't want to do that. Not interested. I'll hurt myself. Don't want to hurt myself. And, go down to the principal, talk to the principal, but just give me something else to do, but I'm not doing that. And I refused because Viking. If you can hear the drilling, they're repairing something, but it does sound like the largest mosquito from the planet Org. It's on my end. Anyway, the whole idea in this video today is that spontaneous is not something that happens out of nowhere. Spontaneous combustion first required the elements to be in proximity. They had to be the right elements. To create the optimum spontaneity, somebody had to choose the appropriate chainsaws deliberately after much trial and error. The trial and the error part are the winging it part. We're looking for an outcome. To achieve the outcome, we have to know what it is. We have to tell people what it is so that they can expect our arrival. If we decide that we're going to go on a journey and we take an empty suitcase and we go down the driveway and we unlock the car and we get in the car, slam, and we put the empty suitcase on the seat beside us and we sit there. There are a couple things missing. There's nothing in the suitcase. It's empty. Why is the suitcase empty? The suitcase is empty because we don't know where we're going. We didn't plan a destination. We just decided that we would like to go somewhere. And so we went there and we're sitting in the car waiting for the destination to say, that's not how it works. It works the other way. Do you choose your flaming chainsaws? Or are you winging it? Are you hoping they work? Are you hoping they catch fire? Are you hoping they achieve the desired outcome? Are you therefore placing the responsibility for those successes on the chainsaws and your spectators? If you don't tell a destination that you're coming, how would the hotel have a room ready for you? If you don't tell the hotel that you would like an ocean view, how do they know which room to pick for you? If you don't tell people every time I travel, I ... how can they anticipate you? Whose journey is it? Yours. Whose adventure is it? Yours. What are you prepared to bring? If it's your journey, your destination, your purpose, your passion, why would the onus be placed on the reception, the destination, and the people waiting? And I always use this analogy because it is the most alive in my mind. I love going out. I love being with people who are fun. I love seeing new places. There is, however, a moment of resistance when I am very comfortable at home. I've had a busy day, a complex day, a satisfying day, whatever kind of day, and I now weigh the value of getting up from my couch, changing out of my comfy pants, putting on something fabulous, getting in the car, navigating traffic, finding parking, going to the venue, paying the money, and engaging. That's a lot of decisions for me to make on the off chance that engaging is what I am really going to enjoy. That's a lot of random guesses that I make. That is a lot of commitment I make before I even know I'm going to have a good time. So that's my little barrier. And when I'm talking to people who are saying, I just love the idea of it just kind of happening. Sure, me too. But first, get the stuff together and then see if it happens. I say to myself, on the other hand, if somebody calls and says, okay, I went there last week, unbelievably the best thing. Want to go? Immediately, that information erases the hurdle. Immediately, it's gone. All those, well, I don't know, well, gone. Why? Because I was given a reason that had value. Given that reason by somebody who has value. Given a reason predicated on all the other times it was true. One of my kids, one of my showbiz kids, in the book called Fame, the Collector's Edition, which I wrote with their contributions, One of my kids said, when I said, "What's your definition of fame?" He said to me, "Fame is an echo." I said, "Of?" And he said, "The parade gone by." Fame, he said, "I'll give you an example. When people say, blah, blah, blah thing band is in town, blah, blah, blah performer is in town. Want to go? This is how much the tickets are." We are not buying the ticket and spending the money for this event we know nothing about. We are buying the ticket and spending the money, investing ourselves in our memory of the last time. We are going in order to experience that previous time. Again, there's a fair amount of anticipation that is on the shoulders of the performer, because we are going to be comparing every second, every minute, every moment of the event, this one with that one we remember. And we remember it through many, many filters that may or may not be accurate. We want what we loved before so that we can love it again. That's why we engage. Otherwise, we stay home. Inertia is the hunger we can activate, but inertia is in the way until we realize and we begin to salivate. Why would somebody buy one of my Johnny Foster novels? Well, so Johnny Foster is my fictional alter ego. Johnny Foster is a writer who became a writer by accident. And her life is essentially is a sequence of train wrecks, because she assumed better than real and is constantly reminded of that fact. And yet she never really quite grasps it. And so you know that pretty much anything she gets into is going to have a moment here and a moment there, here, there, everywhere. And the reason I love writing the Johnny Foster novels is that I love to get these stories out. People like to read them because they're funny, and it's a case of better her than me. And when they laugh and say, "Oh my God, when she said this and he did that," and oh my God, I could picture. She said, "I remember." So my girlfriend said, "I remember when we did that." I love doing those things because I'm anticipating remembering the stuff that happened before. Some of it is spontaneous, but writing is not spontaneous. Writing is like naming blades of grass. It's spontaneous at the beginning, and then you have to keep going back and going back and going back to clarify, 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 clarify. Because what I think is clear is not necessarily clear. And so in the conversation with somebody who says, I just want them to, yeah. But you have to help them get off the couch. You have to help them put their pants on. You have to help them get in the car. You have to help them want to drive into downtown traffic. You have to get them to want to pay the money and sit on a hard chair and face the front. We have to help them over those hurdles. And in the book analogy, they need to be able to find it. They're not going in and saying, "I'm kind of looking for a book." And the person says, "Oh, well, good. What's the bookstore?" If you can profile who your buyer is, you know how to promote what you're doing in the hope that it's what they're looking for. When I say, do you choose your chainsaws or are you winging it? What I'm saying is, do you have a specific purpose or are you just bored, restless, doodling, Tell us, because that will determine what we do. Did you? People saying to me when I invite them over for dinner, was there a picture of this in the recipe book? Did it look like that? No, I added a few. I didn't actually have that, so I substituted this. I see. Well, that would explain that. So, the value of the advice that I give to people is this. I'm not pulling it out of thin air. When I say a thing is a mistake, I have tested it. I have proven it. If you squint into the distance, you can still see the echoes of the mushroom clouds behind me. You can hear fading in the distance. So as the world starts leaping and contorting around us, and it is doing a fine job, I might say, it is wise to remember that if you say to somebody, this is a pen. I call it a weapon of mass construction because I kind of enjoy that. It's a riff on the pen is mightier than the sword, right? However, I say, do you need a pen? They say, no, I need a pencil. Then I can get them a pencil. If they say, I need something to write with, I don't know. If I dip the cat's tail in ink, would that help? Probably not. Clarity is a good idea. Connection is essential. Engaging is how it works. The outcome is alignment. If alignment is what you want, engagement is how you get there. Connection is what triggers. Clarity is what inspires. Are you choosing or are you winging it? Are you committing? Are you investing? Are you in? Or do you have one foot on the dock? In turbulent times and troubled waters, when the wind is shifting, one foot in the boat and one foot in the dock is going to get very busy and very unhappy very fast. That's it for today, my lovelies. It's 11 o'clock already. I've gone long, but I thought it was important today for us to get our focus and choose. You don't have to do one or have to do the other. You do have to choose. Otherwise, nothing happens. Be good to you. You deserve it. Remember to hug your loved ones because they deserve it too. And in case you didn't hear at the very beginning, thank you. Thank you so much to all of you for joining. Thank you for connecting. Thank you for participating. Thank you for contributing the time in your busy lives to be part of this. Because without you, it's a rehearsal. And I will see you on Thursday with something different and fun and exciting. I'm going to do my best to deliver what I promise. Thank you so much for watching.